Okay, here we go. Hold on. Fixed it. Welcome back. It's Wednesday. Today, hold on, I can remember. It's the 5th, November 5th, 2025. We are neck deep in Avatar Magic spoilers. I know nothing about Avatar. I don't know who is the Avatar. I don't know what is the Avatar, and I do not know why is the Avatar. But I can tell you that this card is a really cool PDH commander for a couple reasons. For those of you who've been following these streams and the decks that I've been building, I have a type, and it is cards that let me tap and untap my creatures and use my creatures for things other than combat. Exactly, Springer. They do a bending. That's all. That's what I've heard. This card does a bending. I don't know what it is. What is a bending? I don't know, but this does it. Um, this is a card, 3 mana, 2/3, Katara Bending Prodigy. Human warrior ally at the beginning of your end step. If this creature's tapped, it gets a 1/1 counter, and has an activated ability for 6 mana, draw a card. But it's a water bend ability. So what that basically means is it kind of is a mesh between convoking and improvise. You can tap your creatures and artifacts to pay for the cost. So if I've got a bunch of like an Aether Spellbomb, I can tap it to reduce or to pay for one of the costs. If I have a Bone Splitter, I can tap the Bone Splitter to pay for one of the costs. So um, this is a card that lets us be aggressive. It lets us play equipment and benefit from it. It lets us pick cards like Aether Spellbomb and other like cool interactive artifacts. It's something that like Frogmite is probably good in, which I like. That appeals to me. Um, it basically is something where you want to put a bunch of objects on the battlefield, get this thing down, and then like you can tap her to use her own ability. You can attack with her. She grows every combat. So we can do like this weird kind of like Voltron-y like plan A or B, depending on how you want to do it. Um, a lot of cool things, a lot of stuff that I like to do when I play Magic, as those of you who have been watching the streams probably know by now. I like to fiddle with my cards, and this lets me do that. So we are going to get going here. Okay. First thing we're gonna do, I usually forget to do this until I've added a couple cards. We're gonna get the islands in there now. This is what, a 3 mana card. We're gonna play a lot of stuff. If we're gonna play a lot of permanents, then we're probably gonna be a lower mana curve. We could start at like 35 lands. Um, Maybe go down from there. But I think this is fine for now. First thing we'll do is let's get some cool artifacts. Just like some cheapo stuff. I have a couple in mind, but we're going to not equipment just yet, but just like utility things. The difference, like, it also is kind of like affinity, right? Because its cost is reduced by the amount of permanence functionally that you have. Um, Artifact lands don't count twice, obviously, but if you also kind of like think of it that way to kind of reconcile in your head how this mechanic can like function on a battlefield. It's like, for example, like a Frogmite is affinity for artifacts 4, so you have 4 artifacts, you can pass it for free. This is like if you have 6 artifacts, you can activate this ability for free, basically. So like a lot of cards that are good in affinity decks, good in decks that feature improvise, are going to be good here. So we can start there. We probably don't need mana rocks. Is this an Ornithopter deck? This is a fundamental question whenever you sit down to build a deck. Is this an Ornithopter deck? Maybe yes, it is. I've decided that it is, and we're also going to put in a Phyrexian Walker as well. So these cards do a lot. They beef up your artifact and or creature count very early for no cost, obviously, so it gets you kind of jump started on that path. This is a deck where we're going to be playing equipment because we get to double dip. We can use them to, progress with our kind of Voltron game plan while also being able to tap those artifacts to activate the ability. Things like, Gold Vein Picker be really good because they generate more artifacts. So like clues, treasures, foods, all of these things we can use to waterbend and just draw a bunch of cards. So these cards are just cheapo creatures. They hit the battlefield. We can equip them later if we want to, but they will serve a purpose of activating this ability. We're also going to play something like, also going to play Larder Zombie. This is a Larder Zombie deck if I've ever seen one, so they also can activate the Larder Zombie. We'll get to that later. Let's see, any cool ones? I really want like functional artifacts. A lot of the artifact focused decks I've built in the past have revolved around generating value with the artifacts in terms of like raw cards, right? Like they are commanders either care about you casting the artifacts being in play, or the artifacts going to the graveyard. Um, so something like Arkham's Astrolabe or Barb's Sextant are like better because they cash themselves in for a mana or another card or whatever, and you can like keep that velocity going. This is much different. In this one, we actually want the cards to have like an onboard functionality. So Aether Spellbomb is kind of the perfect one. It's just a really great piece of interaction. It's colorless, so like it's around pro blue. Um, Cash and draw card, just a really good card. One of the all timers in my opinion, like this and Pirate Spellbomb, just two like really great artifacts. Do a lot. Um, we'll do equipment later. We're not doing spheres and stars. Do you want Candy Trail? I do like kind of candy. I kind of like Candy Trail. This is something that we can like cash in for some life. Mono blue, not the best at gaining life, and as we've talked about a lot, like the odd piece of food here and there can kind of keep you alive in tough spots. So let's put a Candy Trail in here. It also replaces itself and it scries 2 when it enters, so it's kind of like a Witching Well, which is another one. I'll just put that now that I'm thinking about it. Witching Well is a cool one from Eldraine. 1 mana artifact, ETB scry 2, you can cash it in to draw 2 cards. We're going to play this one too. Just like they let us set up our draws, we can use them for other things later. Just like good functionality. Immediately cashing them in like a sphere or a star is not the point. Let's see. Yeah, like Conjurer's Bubble, we're not going to do that. We could do like Expedition Map. No, because they don't do anything, either ETB or otherwise. Flight Spellbomb is actually quite good here. Because it's a piece of evasion for a commander, which is going to be a threat. So I envision this card just kind of sitting around for a while. You tap it to bend a little bit here and there, and then when you're ready to just like go into the red zone, sacrifice it. I just want cards that do stuff. We don't need a ton. Like it's obviously not like the most important thing, but it's definitely an easy thing to do. Mantle of Tides is a great one. No, I'm not. My love of Mantle of Tides will not get me off topic. I'm going to stick to non-equipment artifacts. Moonstone Prototype. Possible. Yeah. Moonstone Prototype's good. These cards are great because in this deck specifically, like Katara just cares that she's tapped on your end step. So if you don't have a good attack, or you want to leave her up as a blocker, I guess that doesn't really matter, right? Because you're tapping her at the end step anyway. So forget that I said that. But you can tap her to add mana with Moonstar Prototype and also Springleaf Drum if you don't have good attacks. Plus, I just like those cards anyway. They are good cards. Obviously, there's a fair number of like cheap creatures that do this stuff too. And we'll get to that, I'm sure, but I really just want to get this artifact stuff out the way now. Surgical Skull Bomb's another one. Importantly, like Surgical Skull Bomb and Aether Spell Bomb don't require you to tap it to activate the abilities. Flight Spell Bomb does, so a mark against it there. But Surgical Skull Bomb, this card gets overlooked a lot because it's just like a worse Repulse. And Repulse is not a card that you see a ton anyway. But in this deck, being able to bend with it and then kind of cash in when you need to gives you a lot of flexibility. It just is, it plays a little better than it reads. Plus, you can always cash in for a card if you don't want to pay the 3 mana activated ability. You have to use that as a sorcery, so it's like worse than Repulse actually. But in this deck, you can bend with it. And it also counts towards like affinity and stuff, which we'll probably pay like a decent amount of. There's not like a ton of affinity cards at common. There's enough, but we're not going to go like super hard, I don't think. All right, where are we at? This is not a twig deck. I'm not going to do that. Really like cards that have activation costs, artifacts that have activation costs, don't require them to tap, or where I want to be. Unless there's a specific reason why it appeals to me. Normal stuff. Okay, Chrome Companion, that's a good one. Well, that's a creature. We'll get to Not getting off topic. Not doing it. We're just getting the cool artifacts. Cryogen Relic is a great one. It canters when it enters, you cash it in to disrupt somebody's shit, and then you draw a card when it leaves. But in the meantime, draw some cards with it. This is a good example of what I want. Cultist Staff, great Halloween card right there. We're not doing Ethereum Sculptor stuff. Could do like Flywheel Racer. It's like a third Springleaf Drum. You know, decidedly worse, but I don't know if I need 3 Springleaf Drums in this deck. I love me a Springleaf Drum, but I don't know if I need 3 of them. God, the blue equipment are so good. Light Jammer, Manolitites, I love those cards so much. Hovermere is actually not that bad either because it has Vigilance. There's not a ton of like blue Vigilance. Like I said, we'll come back to that. Instant Ramen. No. It costs 2 mana. 2 mana is so much. Inverted Iceberg's great. Inverted Iceberg. I'm going to cut the candy shell. I decided I want this card. Inverted Iceberg is really cool. Like, probably one of my favorite cards from Lost Caverns. It's not something that you see in a ton of places, but it plays really cool. So, it's a 2-mana artifact. You mill a card, draw a card. So it just cantrips. However, once you get up to 6 mana, it turns in. You can craft it with another artifact to make a giant 6/6 that taps and untaps stuff. And that thing is a beast. So you just get like this thing, you know, just cantrips. Later in the game, you turn it into a giant creature, and in the meantime, you use it to waterbend. It seems good to me. Seems good to me. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stay away from things that require us to tap to activate them. Just because I want to be able to do the water bending stuff. Mnemonic Sphere is a good one. Even better because it can cycle. Okay, this one's from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, so it's a 2-mana artifact. Does nothing, but you can pay 2 mana and sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. So basically, it's a 4-mana draw 2, just split up across 2 different activations or 2 different costs. You also channel it, just discard it to draw a card if you don't want to do that. So I think this card's really cool. This is a deck that cares a lot about permanence, and this is, you know, not the worst one. Drawing cards is good, and things that you can just like, when you need to dig, you can just like, you know, get it. You can use it to water bend, and then when you run out of water bending activations, you can use mana to, you know, just sacrifice these things, draw extra cards. Um, hmm. Hum. What are we at? We've got 9 like decent artifacts here. We've got 2 0 costs. I'm not gonna play shields here. That one's stupid. Stupid. Okay, so we're almost done with the 2 mana value cards. This is an interesting one. It becomes a creature though, right? So it's kind of whatever. Wedding Invitation. I mean, we have to play Wedding Invitation. For the same reason that we play Flight Spellbomb. It just makes our thing unblockable, and it replaces itself. I'm into it. Bender's Waterskin. This card's insane. Really good. Okay, anyway. We got things that make map tokens. We got things that make tokens. We'll look for like create as an Oracle text word when we get to that point. 4 or greater, make a Thopter. Not sure how much of that we're going to be doing. I'm not going to do Golem Foundry. We're not going to like, this isn't like an artifact deck. It's just something where like you get to play these cards and they actually like do something. Okay. I think I'm content because once you get into like the 3-drops, it becomes much less efficient. This is where like you'll find things like um, playables like Pilgrim's Eye, for example. Things that have good ETBs that stick around to waterbend. Generate some value that way. But yeah, I think we're good here. I think we're good. All right. Let's just look at... We'll probably want like some more once we... What are we at? We got 10, 12 artifacts right now. Yeah, we'll have more once we add creatures and equipment. So let's look at affinity cards. Oh, because I have type artifact. That's why. Some good ones, obviously, like Frogmite. Just like a little guy that is easy to cast. I'm not worried about like Gear Seeker Serpent or like the big guys, because our commander's a big guy. It's like less important. Spire Golem's a great one. Just like a really like on turn, if you go like turn 1 island, turn 2 island, turn 3 island, you can cast a 2/4 flyer on turn 3, which is above rate if we're looking at like Windrake as a template. Thoughtcast obviously is really good here. We're just gonna be like drawing tons of cards between like the waterbend and like the other things. We'll get Improvise next. There's the draw spell and Improvise. We'll play Sojourner's Companion, I think, because we can play an artifact land that we can search up with it. All we need is like Seed of the Synod, because even if we like draw the Seed of the Synod naturally, we don't need to cycle this. It's just a Mirror Enforcer. And you know what? If we're doing that, why don't we just play Mirror Enforcer? Why don't we just play Mirror Enforcer? I also like Gear Seeker Serpent, but I don't really like that card. Not because it's like bad. It's obviously very good, but it's just it doesn't. The reason I like Mirror Enforcer better because Mirror Enforcer is an artifact, and there's other things that you can do with it. Like this is just a creature. This is an artifact and a creature, so you can do way more stuff with it. That's how I look at it. Same with like Somber Hoverguard. I've been on a Mirror Enforcer kick since kind of getting into value vintage brewing. Mirror Enforcer is like my favorite card. All right, Improvise. There's one I love, Reverse Engineer. Bastion Avengers 4/4 hexproof. I don't think we need that. Let's just get Reverse Engineer. This one's great. Just a 5-mana draw 3 that you can cast with your artifacts, of which we're going to have plenty. All right, let's do equipment. We'll do this part now. We'll have some good ones. We're not gonna play a bajillion equipment, but the ones that I think are cool, we will definitely play. We'll also run mana value, because that's how I like to do it. Don't need a Bone Splitter. We want the ones that make game objects, the ones that have extra synergies. Ceremonial Knife. There's a suite of these. There's 4. Ceremonial Knife. I'll go through one at a time. This is whenever your creature deals combat damage, not just to a player, but to a creature, you make a blood token. Hold on one second. I'm just going to change this so it's easier to talk about these cards. Oh, whoops, I sorted it by rarity. That was not what I wanted. Mana value. Okay, Ceremonial Knife. 1+1/+0 makes bloods when it does damage, so more game objects that we can use to waterbend. Oh, I didn't need to go back. Prying Blade, an oldie but a goodie, and by oldie I mean it was in Ixalan. 1-mana artifact. Equipment gives the thing +1/+0, deals combat damage to a player, make a treasure token. Pretty classic. 2 to equip, so little. I prefer my equipment to have a higher mana values, lower equip costs than vice versa. And I say that specifically because the next card we're going to do is Goldvein Pick. Dog's going nuts in the background. Goldvein Pick is like the inverse of Prying Blade. A little bit better because it has a point of toughness too, +1/+1. 2-mana artifact, costs 1 to equip. I like this one better, obviously, but we just want both because they both synergize so well with our commander and what we're doing. And then the 4th one, God, the dog is distracting me. We'll get to it. I'll find it, and when I see it, I'll remember it. Lose my train of thought. What happens is Ollie, the older dog, likes to walk right up to Junie's crate, the younger dog, and stare at her, and it drives her insane. All right, Mantle of Tides. This card is really good. Just a 1 mana equipment that basically attaches for free whenever you want it to, especially because we can activate this ability at instant speed. So we can draw our second card to trigger this, conceivably whenever we want to move it around. But +1/+2 is great. Like, even putting this, turning a 1/1 into a 2/3 is kind of big game in a way that a lot of people don't, I think, fully realize. Um, this is a good spread of stats on a really efficient package. Mechanical lighter, don't care. Let's see. Goggles of Night, we will play one of the great blue equipments. When a creature deals combat damage to a player, scry 1, draw 1. Reasonably costed, very effective and splashy once it gets going. Ilvoy Lightjammer, just like a perfect magic card if I've ever seen one. I've talked about this card a couple times because I've been including it in a lot of blue decks that I've built on stream. 2 mana, flash. When it enters, you attach it for free. It automatically attaches as a trigger, and it gives that creature hexproof till end of turn. So it's a protection spell. Also gives a creature +1/+2, which, as we talked about, is like relevant. It's kind of an analog to a couple of auras in blue, 2 mana auras that have flash that give a creature hexproof when they get enchanted on the turn they get enchanted. So it's similar, except it's an equipment, so better, and we can tap it to waterbend. So a sick protection spell for Katara, to be sure. Pirate Hat. I like Pirate Hat. Should be drawing so many cards in this deck. Pirate Hat's really cool. It gives a thing +1/+1 and loot when attacks. So draw 1, discard. It equips pirates for 1 mana, everything else for 2. But yeah, equipping it for 2 is fine. It's an attack trigger, which is better than a damage trigger because you get it every time. Like Goggles of Night is obviously like the trigger is better, but you have to connect. This one you just have to attack. And this gives power and time disc, whereas Goggles does not. So good in its own way. I like Pirate Hat. Sages. No, let's. There's creature attacks, untap target attacking creature. No, don't care about that one. You do like Haunted Cloak, but this card's boring. You know, just making your thing into like an unkillable threat is boring to me. So maybe we leave Haunted Cloak out of it, even though like it obviously is very good with what we're doing. Oh, this is all the equipment we have? Okay. Could have sworn there was another equipment that makes things when we do things. Maybe it's, oh, Beamtown Beatstick, but that's in red. We're not doing that. Okay, that's why I couldn't think of it, because it doesn't exist in blue. These make artifacts when they enter, but I don't really care as much about that. So how many equipment we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equipment. Maybe we can put in one more. Brass Knuckles makes a token. Copy. Yes, it does. It sure does. But I like the things. See, I'm much cooler on cards that just do like one thing. Brass Knuckles just does one thing, even though it comes with like a token copy. The token copy just gives things double strike, which I think is kind of, obviously it's powerful. I think it's kind of boring. It's not how I like. I mean, if I'm not playing certain decks, then I'm not going to want to double strike people to death. It's only fun sometimes, and plus, leaves room for other cool things. Maybe if we have room at the end, I'll put in Brass Knuckles, but it's not something I'm enthusiastic about, if I'm being honest. Obviously, it's powerful for people who like their decks to be more powerful than not. Obviously, play Brass Knuckles, but um, I just don't like the double strike. Like, I mean, like Gold Pan, Gilded Pinions also make like a token when they enter, so they make 2 things. But there's also like there are other things that make 2 things as well. But I think this is good. We've got 23 artifacts. Now we can go to creatures, just regular old creatures. And I think there's a lot to be said. Yeah, it's 2 equipment for 4. but it's stupid equipment. It's stupid. Okay, anyway, um, I think there's a lot of equity to be gained in your average game uh, by not monopolizing the battlefield with threats that everybody feels like they must answer. Everything can bend. All of these cards bend. There's gonna be no shortage. Um, but we don't need we don't need brass knuckles. We don't need it. I think piling on brass knuckles and making a giant unkillable thing that everybody feels like they have to answer, it kind of sucks. Um, I don't know. Like this will kind of be like a somewhat Voltron-y, but like none of these artifacts are like super aggressive. They generate a lot of value, but they're not like making Katara a 20/20 or whatever, or like a 10/10 double strike or whatever. Um, I think, you know, building vulnerabilities into your deck and not min-maxing for these things is a way to insert a lot of uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Variance into your average game while still maintaining a consistent game plan, right? Like the deck's going to do the same thing every game, but the circumstances are always going to be different because your opponents will always bring something to the table that will be able to interact fairly with what you're doing. You're not freezing people out. Like I'm not going to play like a million counter spells to protect Katara. Like if she gets removed, whatever. Like I'll recast her and build her up again. I don't care. You want to give people those moments too. Anyway, enough of my soapbox. It's almost 7:30 and we've got a long way to go. We got 61 cards. All right. All right, let's get some creatures in here. Oh, I know what we need first. It's probably fine that this is taking a little bit longer to build just because it's a little non-prescriptive. Becomes tapped. This is what we need. Oh, whoops. Creature. Start here. So Scare Tiller, Sphinx's Disciple, all these cards are great. Steam Beast, no. Although you can give people life. That's fun. Untap another target permanent. If you're doing multiple bendings, this is pretty cool. Yeah, let's do all of these. So we'll do Chrome Courier. Not a Chrome Courier, that's a different card. What is this? Chrome Companion? Nanoform. Nanoform Sentinel is really cool. I like this card a lot. Um, Moonfolk Puzzle Maker, one of my faves. Whenever it becomes tapped, you scry one. It's also a 1/4 flyer, so it blocks really well. Scare Tiller is great. We'll include some lands that go to the graveyard just so we can take advantage of that. And then Sphinx's Disciple has inspired, so whenever it becomes untapped, you get to draw more cards. This card's really cool. It plays really well. I've never had a game where I've felt bad about playing this card. It's always awesome. All right. Other sorts of things. I don't know. Let's just look at creatures. Sort by mana value. All right, we'll start at the low end. Things that are cool. Things that aren't just about attacking and blocking. You can play like a fair amount of like little flyers. Like Artificer's Assistant is good. It's a permanent we can cast early, and also whenever we cast one of our artifacts, we get to scry one for historic permanents, or historic spells rather. There's a couple like 1 mana flyers that will do like uh, what's the name of the card? Fairy Seer. 1 mana, 1/1 flyer, ETB scry 2. These things are great early game just because they like get your draws going. And then there's also Silver Raven, which is an artifact creature, 1 mana, 1/1 flyer, ETB scry 1. This card's good too. The fact that it's an artifact is like a big deal. I like Combat Courier a lot actually. I play this card in like actual factual commander decks too. Just a 1 mana, 1/1 sacrifice a draw sacrifice a 2 mana draw card. Unearth for 1. And while we're on the topic, Ilvoid Galeblade will play 2. 1 mana, 1/1 flyer with flash. Pay 2, sacrifice, draw a card. These cards are great. Man, we're gonna be drawing so many cards. So many cards. Don't really need Floodhound. Although I do kind of like Floodhound. We'll play Floodhound. I feel like over the course of the game, this is going to generate a lot of value. This is a no mana rocks deck, by the way. We're not playing mana rocks on this deck. I like these cards, like Humbling Elder, on the ETB, give a thing -2, -0. Great combat trick. Maybe I'll play a couple of these, depending on where we end up. Larger Zombie, obviously. Larger Zombie, the GOAT. 1-man, 1/3 defender, tap 3 untapped creatures, scry 1 or surveil 1. Yeah, Miles. So the thing about win conditions, it's less important, I think, in this format because combat is so much of a central like driving force. So most of the games we won through combat. I think as long as you are including creatures in your deck, that you will have a win condition. I almost put zero thought into win conditions, like explicitly, almost zero. When you turn bear, we'll play that. All these cards like give you great value. Legion Bear comes back as an aura that gives +1/+1 and flying to something. Our commander in this case, most likely. Like for example, like in this deck, I'm not thinking about win cons necessarily. Like you can attack people to death with Mirror Enforcer and Spire Golem and stuff like that. But our commander will be like the primary aggressive threat, and the rest of the deck can just generate value around it. Obviously, like you set people up to set you back by removing your most important card, but again, like to revisit what I was saying earlier, I think that's an important part of the game, and I think giving people the opportunity to do that to you is an important part of like the social experience. Martyr of Frost is really cool, but we are playing a bunch of artifacts, so our blue spell count isn't going to be as high as it maybe should be. I do love me a Martyr of Frost, though. I will say that. Got some little guys. We don't need all the little guys. Sage of Epicure we'll probably skip over. Like, rearranging top 4 is not nearly as good as scrying 2, or even 1. I'd rather scry 1 than move around my top 4 cards that got locked. I don't think any of these cards are particularly appealing for what we're doing. Like, Wall of Runes ain't bad, but it doesn't attack for 1 like our other guys, that's for sure. Wingcrafter is actually quite good. This is a card that I usually forget about, despite how much I love it. It's just a 1-mana 1/1. It soul bonds, so we can soul bond it to whatever we want. Whatever it soul bonds with has flying. It and the creature that soul bonds has flying. So it's just a way to give your commander flying in most cases, but also you can put it on other things. Let's play an Alchemist Apprentice. See, we can do this because we just want to like get good bodies that we can water bend with, and this we can just cash in for an extra card. I like this card a lot in most situations, so it's kind of a pet card in that regard. But that's all the excuse I need to play it, honestly. 76. Okay, we're moving right along. We'll also play like some other like token generating cards too, but we're not going to go like too heavy on like too deep on creatures. I want to keep the curve fairly low. Augrial is another one that I love. We still got to like put some interaction in here. Like we'll play a couple bounce spells, these sorts of things. The bread and butter. Let's see. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Nope. Dreamscape Artist is cool, but it's not going in. Sorry for all you Dreamscape lovers, Dreamscape Artist lovers out there. Fairy Duel is just another one of those things that hits people's power. Good combat trick. What is this? Enters create a clue. 1/3. This card's pretty cool. Let's play this. Oh, over here, let's do Hard Evidence. Just because it's stuck in my brain. Hard Evidence makes a crab token, makes a clue token. Cool stuff. What are we looking at? All right, 734. Moving right along. Don't need these. Don't need these. Hovermere is interesting because it's vigilance. Creatures with vigilance seem good. Maybe. What is Katara? She's a warrior ally, right? Yeah, okay. Information dealer. If you can just get like 2 or 3 wizards, this card's quite good. Just being able to like rearrange the top 2 or 3 cards of your deck every turn. It's not bad. Definitely a way to get an edge. Okay, let's see. Oh, Duo Drone. Yeah, we're going to be marching Duo Drone. You don't need Howling Golem. Howling Golem's a little gratuitous because we're going to be drawing so many cards anyway. But Marching Duo Drone is pretty sick. This is a good card to advance people, and we get a little bit of extra added value out of the treasure tokens by being able to bend with them. I should look up other water bending cards that have been spoiled too. But first, we're going to finish going through. We'll probably go like up through the 3 mana value creatures. I like to keep my curves pretty low. It's just a personal preference thing. Speaking of which, let's get a Pilgrim's Eye in here and maybe not a Sky Scanner. Parcel, oh, play Omen Speaker. These cards also block well. This means it's a 1/3, you know, scry 2. Don't need like a ton of other creatures that sacrifice to draw cards like Parcel Mirror. I like them, but don't need them. I like the 1 mana ones a lot better, just because they fly, they can get aggressive, whereas like cards like this really don't. Cast your second spell each turn, one counter can't be blocked. Nope. Next. Sacrifice artifact, draw a card. It's an interesting one. Cyber Cryptomancer. Great card. I really like having my protection spells baked into other things, not like counter spells, you know, like having it be an equipment or having it be a creature, you know, in the case of Cyber Cryptomancer, when it enters, it backs up and gives hexproof. Just more play to the cards. They're more interesting, they're more fun. You think about what a deck like this is doing, probably playing like counter spells to protect its thing because it relies so heavily on this. But counter spells are just boring. They just suck. Nobody likes getting their spells countered. Nobody likes it. Not even me. No, don't need these. Don't need these. Play a Spiketail Hatchling. I kind of like getting somebody with a Spiketail Hatchling every once in a while. For all of my shit talking about counter spells, Spiketail Hatchling is a card that I adore. It just is a force spike on a creature. The great thing about like these cards like Spiketail Hatchling, Silver Raven, Fairy Seer, Galeblade, etc., is that they attack. That's like a big feature of these cards. They seem kind of piddly and low impact, but they do a thing. They can get in there, and they can use them for other stuff, so they have extra utility. They're never dead is the important thing. None of these cards are like ever dead. Okay. All right, coming up on the end. Oh, we could do like some proliferate stuff. I guess Katara is the only thing that we're really putting counters on, so it's just like putting extra counter on Katara, which is pretty boring. I like Thruming Bird. If I'm proliferating like, you know, multiple things, and that's cool. If you're not, then it's just kind of dumb, in my opinion. In my opinion. But I have a lot of weird opinions. We'll take Servant is kind of cool. Untap an artifact on your end step. It can help us bridge some water bending stuff. That's pretty cool. I guess it's also just like functional vigilance for this creature, right? Okay. We don't need to do like a ton of like tappy untappy stuff. All right, now we're to the threes. Here we can do like some cool interactive spells. All the creatures, I think most of the creatures that we're going to play at 3 mana value are going to have like some kind of offensive utility. Aether Adept is the best one. It's just like a classic card. 3 mana 2/2 ETB bounce a thing. It's perfect. No notes. Alchemax Slayerbot similar. Enters, freezes a thing. It's also an artifact. Sick, dope, love it. Makes a Thopter. That's pretty cool. No, we're not gonna do that one. Whenever you sacrifice a token, gains flying. That's pretty neat. Not really that compelling though. Blood Servitor makes a blood token. Less good than the one that we already played, right? The 1/3 that makes a clue. This is like significantly less good than that. I want to get some aggressive stuff going here. Blah blah blah. Cloud Conceer, ETB draw card, whatever. We're drawing so many cards. Who cares? I don't remember the name of the card, but Diminish a Witch is quite good. So we will be able to bargain fairly often, I think. This just requires that you sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token. And then it makes a thing on 1/1. It's a cool piece of interaction. I like this card. Let's see. Doodle for Replicator, 4 mana, 3/2 plus a copy of a token. That's kind of low impact at 3 mana. Not what I want at 3 mana, I can tell you that much. I really just want stuff like Frost Trickster, maybe Frost Lynx even. Frost Trickster obviously is better because it's a 2/2. Alchemax Slayerbot's obviously better because it's an artifact. Frost Lynx is neither one of those things. So it's kind of like lower on the totem pole. Maybe we'll play that one. Gilded Scuttler, we're definitely going to play though because it's unblockable and it also taps down a thing. And it's an artifact. It does everything we want it to do. Another Proliferate card. But again, like, we're not leaning into any of the themes that would want us to proliferate a lot. I do not. There aren't a ton of compelling ones. That'll be my next search. I'm just gonna finish going through. I'm not gonna play anything more than 3 mana. I don't think, as far as creatures are concerned. Kind of keep it lean. There's more than enough here for us to go on, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. But yeah, I'll search for second draw cards once we get through, because I do like them. And yeah, I guess I am drawing a bunch of cards, right? So makes sense. Phase Dolphin. This card's really good with our commander. Just makes it unblockable. Let's play Phase Dolphin. I like Phase Dolphin, honestly. Like in a lot of places. It's like, you know, those white creatures, the 3 mana white creatures that give a thing flying when they attack. Rowdy Snowballers, tap and stun. No. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I wish it were an artifact. How much more can there be? There's so many cards. So many cards. I already got Pilgrim's Eye. I don't really care about Sky Scanner. Oh, Spectacle Drakeling will play that one. All right, we're at 91 cards. We need some spells. All right, we'll just finish going through here real quick. As like, there's like 8 more pages of this stuff. Try and go through quick. Trinket Mage is great. Because I do want to goldfish this, and I'm going to run pretty short on time. Okay. Alright, I think we're done here. Okay. Real quick, we'll just do second card. Yeah, creatures, blue, common. Erudite Wizard. Oh yeah, like the knights and stuff. I know these ones. Otter Penguin. We'll play Erudite Wizard. You know what? We'll play the knights, and we'll play the Latinam guy. I like these cards. They're fun. They're cool. Latinam Adept. And they just get big. Okay. That's that. Let's look at, we'll play like just like 5 spells. That seems good. We have a lot of interaction in our creatures and in our lands, or in our artifacts rather. So let's look at type. Let's look at instant, sorcery, partial type matches in blue, common. So look at spells that create. Like interactive spells that make resources. Depths of Desire is a great example. A 3-mana bounce spell that makes a treasure. It's pretty right up our alley. Hard evidence we got. Not really interested in Glimmer Burst. Don't need that one. Pirate's Prize. No, we don't need draw spells though. I'm just kind of speeding through here. A lot of draw spells, but I really don't want draw spells. I just want. I feel like Revenge of the Drowned too. No. Nah. Nah. Breakfast Blunder. Oh, we'll play Breakfast Blunder. Bounces a creature. If the creature was tapped, we make a map token. I like that. We got hard evidence. Okay. We can just do like some basic stuff. How many cards? We only need 3 cards. So pretty simply, we can just do like, blink of an eye into the royal and swoosh whoosh or whatever it's called. Just like some nuts and bolts, just interactive spells. Swoosh. What's the name of the Spider-Man card? Instant. Return. Draw. Mana value equals 2. Whoosh. Oh, W-H. Oh, S-H, yeah. That was close. Alright. This seems fine. We got 5 bounce spells. A lot of draw. Interaction kind of seeded throughout. Alright, last thing, because we're going to run low on time here, is we're going to look for cards that waterbend. Because there are some that I'm sure have been spoiled. No. Oh, there's none at mana value too. Alright, here we go. Any of these things. No. 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 We'll play this. Waterbend making unblockable. It seems pretty cool, and it's a land cycler. Okay, we got 101 cards. Let's cut one thing. Phase Dolphin. Okay. All right, now the only things we really need to do, Seed of the Synod. What's the name of the card? It's the land that sacrifices a draw card. Oh, shoot. Type land. Blue. Common. Sacrifice. Where is it? Surgical Bay. Cataract. Lands that sacrifice themselves for, Scare Chiller. And we'll get the cycling lands. Opal Palace, Study Hall, obviously. Whoops. There we go. Lonely. Sandbar. Remote Isle. Desert. Whoops, not that one. Desert of the True. Mindful. Yeah, okay. And then we cut what? 8. All right, let's take it in. We got a good 10 minutes. All right. We've got lands. We've got a 1, a 2, a 3 protection. Okay, this is fine. So we'll draw for turn. Cast our boy. Our jellyfish boy. Turn 2. Play Omen Speaker. We'll scry 2. We've got an artifact next turn. So we can bottom this. We'll bottom both. Really just want lands. Skull Bomb's good. Alright, let's just get Katara online. And just start doing that. Can't tap her, but that's okay. Play the Skull Bomb. I need land. We'll attack. End step gets a counter. Opal Palace. So now we can waterbend, right? We got 7 things. Okay, so let's get this out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do this. Let's just waterbend. 5, 6. So when this becomes tapped, we can untap here. So we'll get a combat. Draw a card. Attack for 3. End step counter. Land. We'll just go like Slayer bots, and then I've got 2 artifacts, so or 3 rather. So Frog might cost 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we can attack, and then we can waterbend. We'll do that on step. So yeah, we attack, you know, get a counter, end step, waterbend. Next turn. Here we go. Now we're kind of doing it. 1, 2, 3, wizard. You know, we can always waterbend with Katara because we have Sentinel to untap. Yeah, this is good. It all kind of came together there at the end. Okay, so this hand is not good. Actually, is it bad though? Yeah, we're mulliganing that one. This sounds great. Okay. Turn 1, Skull Bomb. Turn 2. Turn 2. We'll play this one. Draw a card, mill a card. Next turn. We'll go 1, 2, 3. Get our girl out there. Whoops. Draw Diminisher Witch. Okay, so we play our 4th land. We can do 1, 2, 3. Cast Trinket Mage. View Library. We'll get our Aether Spellbomb. Cast the Aether Spellbomb. Attack. End step, get a counter. Play land. So now we can go 1, 2. Play Sphere. So we got 4 artifacts. 1, 2, 3. Casimir Enforcer. So now we have 6. So we can attack here. End step, get a counter. And then end a turn of our opponent's turn, we can waterbend. Alright. Just Thoughtcast. Draw 2. Play a land. Nanoform Sentinel is sick. We have enough mana for Light Jammer. We can waterbend. Trigger here, untap. Yeah, this feels great. Like, I'm not crazy, right? Maybe we want some more artifacts. What time is it? 7:54? We got 34. I mean, that's a lot, right? Let's look for artifact creatures. Oh, whoops. Don't allow partial type matches. Oh, that's a cycling. I'm such a dummy. Okay. I figured out my searches. Search, okay. Network Disruptor is pretty interesting. Armed Guard Familiar is pretty good too. All right, let's put an Armed Guard Familiar. I'm searching for an Armguad Familiar, that's why. This card seems good too. I forgot about this one. It reconfigures into an equipment, but it's just also just like a creature. All right, let's cut this thing. All right, that gives us up to 35 and like a good one. Change this printing. Yeah, so we got like threats, right? These things and the wizard grow. Got a bunch of like piddly flyers to chip in damage. Yeah, this seems okay. All right, we got time for one more. 7:55. All right, this hand seems great. And draw. Let's get this guy out there. Turn 2. And get Duotron out. Start making treasures. Perfect. Now we don't have to use our treasure to cast our commander. Attack. Treasure token. Next turn. Land. Beautiful. So now we can do a bunch of stuff. Let's cast 2 spells. We'll play Puzzle Maker, cast Skull Bomb. Now we can bend. So we'll attack there, and we will make a treasure token. And now we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going fully shields down, and a step, add a counter. All right, Frogmite, you're in. Wingcrafter, you're in. You're soulbound to our girl. Pirate Hat, you're also in. Sacrifice a treasure, we'll equip this. Just leave this here. Go to combat. Attack, attack. Make a treasure. Draw, discard. Draw, discard. You know, trigger and end step. So it's actually a 5/6 because of the equipment. And then we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scry 1. We'll leave that. We'll draw land for turn. Whoops. And then next turn we draw this. So land. We'll get this out there. We'll get this out there. We'll scry 2. We'll bottom both these. You know, okay, combat, attack, attack, treasure. Move these over here. All right, so 2 triggers. We made our treasure. Now we draw. Whoops. Draw. We're definitely gonna keep reverse engineer. Then we can bend for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scry. We'll put this on the bottom. Draw a card. Oh, love that. Oh, we'll save it for next turn. And then we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, what I should do is I should go 1, 2, and leave these untapped. Well, I guess I need 2 blue sources to reverse engineer. So, actually, no, I can do this. So I do my water bend, then we'll sacrifice this for blue. Actually, I only need to do sacrifice 1, right? So blue, 1, 2, 3, draw 3. Forecast, will make a clue. Play Mantle Tides. We'll waterbend. Trigger, this goes over here. So should be 1+2, so 6, 8. Flyer. Trinket Mage is even better. And we can get Scare Tiller on. Can attack, make a treasure. And we can sacrifice this. Boom, boom, boom. Get Scare Tiller out there. Oh, and I got a trigger here, so we'll draw, discard land. That way next turn we can waterbend. Actually, yeah, we can just waterbend again. You know, get this on the battlefield when we set the Scare Tiller, draw an extra card. Yeah, You just end up like the game's gonna end one way or another. You don't need to do all the damage. All right, so this works. I love it. This is fun. This is the kind of thing I like to do, and I hope we demonstrated that it's really cool because it is. This is one that's probably on my short list to build in paper. There's another couple that I have my eyes on, but this is one that I'm definitely interested in exploring more, and I'm glad we able to put something together that's functional and in an hour here. But it is 8 o'clock, so got to get going. As always, link in the description to the deck list, link in the description to the list. Now they're called lists, not bookmarks on Moxfield. List of all the decks we've built so far. I've been doing this for a little over a year now. They are all on that list. I'm going to add it to this list right now. And then there's two links at the bottom, one for Trans Lifeline and then Trevor Project. If you're able to, please consider donating your hard-earned American dollars to those organizations. And with that, we'll see you next time. We'll do another Avatar thing next week. There's a lot of cool stuff in the set, and we'll probably revisit it next time. So I'll see you all next week. Have a good evening, good day, good tomorrow, good weekend, good week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye bye now.